What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Let's kick it off with recognition before we get tonight's call started.
I'll go. Shout out to Laura McTaggart, who's in the October mentorship. She's waking up tomorrow in Emerald Coach. I'm so excited for her. She's also in Success Club, and her and I are running her first challenge group together on Monday. We're doing it, and we both have some incredible women in there. So really, really excited to do that with you, Laura. Congrats.
Sorry, Andrea, that's hilarious. I thought we all agreed to wear it. And just for the record, I would have worn it if mine actually came in. You're the MVP. Anybody else for recognition? I wanted to shout out Erin Girouard and Ashlyn Dion, who were asked to speak at the Ottawa Super Saturday next weekend. I'm so excited for those two, and I'm excited for everyone in the room to be able to hear from them, and just the growth that comes with that, with speaking on stage. I was telling Ashlyn that was my first speaking opportunity with this company, was sharing my coach story at a Super Saturday, and I was really nervous and really prepared, and it was such an incredible experience. So super excited for them. You guys are going to kill it. I know it, and really proud that there's once again sisterhood representing at the Ottawa Super Saturday. For anybody that doesn't know what Super Saturday is, it's a quarterly event that Beachbody hosts, and you can find the one closest to you just through a search engine on in the back office. So you can see if there's one in your city. You can also like search on Facebook, you know, Ottawa Beachbody Coach or whatever, try to find the local group. Not every city has one, but definitely a lot do. And I encourage you to go. If there's an event near you, even if it's a couple-hour drive, I would encourage you to go and attend, because it can really change things for you being in the room. Anybody else with recognition? All right. That's that then. Okay, tonight we are going to talk about niching down. But before we do that, we wanted to talk about sort of like, when is the right time to niche down? Because I don't want there to be a new coach on this call that is like, I don't have a thing, like, I don't know, you know, and feels overwhelmed by this, because I think there's really a time and a place in your business that this is going to make sense for you. I actually felt like, as we were brainstorming for the call, that some of the slides I created for the masterclass that I'm doing tomorrow really spoke to this too. And so I'm going to share a couple of those. And I'm going to sort of talk a little bit about the different stages of the past 5 years in my business and how it's led to, you know, finding my niche. And then Erin's going to talk a lot about, like, you know, actually finding your niche. And then if we have time, we would love to put some coaches on the spot and really just like drill down with each other while everybody's on the call to sort of ask those questions that are really helpful into doing this for each other, because sometimes other people can see in you what you might not see and might give you really good ideas that can be really, really helpful. So let me share my screen. Okay, guys. What I want a brand new coach to know is that this business is all about your personal transformation. And we say that all the time, right? Like, your journey is your job. But when I think about this, what really shows me how true this is that if you were to ask a coach 5 years into their journey if they're the same as they were 5 years ago, it's like so laughable, right? We've all changed so much in such positive, massive ways that it's like undeniable what this job has done for us. But if I look at some coaches that have not seen the success they'd hoped for in their coaching business, I think that they get caught at the year 2, year 3 mark and miss the point of the real personal transformation. I want to sort of just share the evolution of the past 5 years. So 2018 was when I started. I literally, the only intention I had was to lose weight. I was in it for the accountability. I did that. I shared my personal journey. I was really vulnerable and insecure and authentic, and I ended up losing 100 pounds. And that gave me some credibility in the business. So that was my personal transformation that year. The next year, 2019, I was like hot, like super thin, looking good, doing all the things, making my own money now. Like I felt on fire. But in the background, I was still had a lot of negative things going on. I was still smoking. I was still using cocaine on the weekends once in a while, which brought me into such emotional lows that I could never share as a coach, right? Like I talked about my smoking sometimes and, you know, having a hangover, but like there was always some darker things that I couldn't share as a coach. 2019 was really the year, and Transform 20 came out. Oh my God, I'll never forget it. Guys, like I faked all of Transform 20 clips on my Instagram because I didn't have the lung capacity to even do that program. And that really, so much imposter syndrome crept over me. And it was really the year that I looked in the mirror and I was like, if I'm going to do this business, I have to do it authentically because I just can't stand phony baloney shit. But in order to do that, there's a lot of changes in my life that are going to have to happen. So 2020 was really the year that I started to try to make those changes. It was another really hard year for me because nobody decides to make a change and has success right away, right? There's trials, there's tribulations, there's ups, there's downs, there's attempts, there's failures, all those things. And that's what 2020 was about. But alongside that personal transformation in 2020, we saw a really big rise in network marketing interest. And a lot of coaches joined our team, joined my team as well. In 2020, the world shut down and I realized I don't have any local coaches. My entire network is in Ottawa. And so I really focused on building local. This picture here is all Las Vegas women that joined my team in 2020. And I put this picture here as a part of my personal transformation because every single one of those coaches quit. And it's at this point in the business, I won't even say my business, in the business that so many people quit. I know that there's people on this call that hit diamond and literally are sitting at emerald. And this is your moment. This is the point in the business where you are at. I encourage you to look inward and to figure out what it is about you that you can transform to move past it and to get to the next stage. For me, a lot of it looped back to the dark things I wasn't sharing, and 2021 became the first year I was smoke-free, drug-free in 15 years, maybe 20 years, right? So the evolution of that took 4 freaking years. In 2021, I finally started to feel my stride as a leader and my confidence because I was able to be like my most authentic self, and I was sharing that it was my first drug-free, smoke-free year. 2022, you know, really I feel completely aligned with who I am. Oops, how do I go back? Here's the thing, guys. When we start, I think 5 years ago, when we started coaching, it was really simple, right? Share 3 to 5 clips of your workout, post some inspiring quotes, share your recipes, do the things, right? But as more and more people started to become a coach, that started to become boring, because that, for the woman sitting on the other side who's struggling to get up, who's struggling to quit smoking, who's struggling to like not yell at her kids, your perfect life doesn't feel attainable and is boring, right? If you are posting that same perfect routine every single day and not showing your personal transformation, it really becomes white noise to your audience. So how I've built this business is really on 3 basic principles. And I'm just sort of whisking through this because it's not the point of the call, but I think it's really, really important. Is 1, be a beginner. And that is at whatever you're doing, right? Not, maybe it's Beachbody programs and fitness. Maybe you are a big newbie like I was when you started coaching. So make sure that you're acting like one, right? And sharing your learnings instead of teaching, right? Make sure you're just sharing what you're learning with people. Be authentic and share your struggles. But here's what I'll warn you. Sometimes I see coaches that are sharing their struggles and it's like, you want to be real, but if you're never making progress with that, then it's not inspiring. And so that really becomes the biggest calling as a Beachbody coach, is to not only be authentic and share your struggles, but to evolve. So as we talk about this tonight, as we talk about niching down, I really want you to be having sort of a side note of where you think your evolution is going. Like for me, I still really feel like I could be really strong. I still feel like my inner athlete has not come to fruition. And that's what I'm sort of visualizing, you know, for me for the next bunch of years. What is it for you? Because this business, your business, is not about Beachbody. It's going to be about your personal transformation and your evolution. So when we talk about niche, I know that it can be intimidating, but I want to remind you, if you are in the first year of your business, this is where you're at. You're figuring out your morning routine, your healthy, nutritious diet, a workout program that suits you, a transformation plan. And when I say that, I mean whatever those things in your life are. Are you a yelly mom? Is your house a fucking disaster? Are there substance issues in your life? Like whatever those things are, right? Because if your house is a disaster and you're procrastinating to work this business because your house is so messy, there's other moms that can really relate with that. And maybe it's room by room tackling that, you know, like when you sort of start sharing something of value, you don't have to marry it forever. You just have to see how it goes and start somewhere. Your business goals and an accountability plan, and that's with your coach or with us or with Coach Corner or wherever, whatever chat you're in. And I want to talk more about that later at the end of the call about goals and earning your first $500. Okay, long-term, phase 1. So everything I just described is pretty much a coach that's in phase 1. You're focusing on sharing your personal journey, fitness, and nutrition authentically. You're enrolling new clients to work out with you. You're creating a community and you're mentoring women to habit overhaul. That last slide, right? So if this is where you're at, I want you to stay in your freaking lane and keep doing this. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't worry about, am I adding value? Am I da-da-da-da? You're not supposed to be the professional. You're a beginner. And that is the most important step to starting this business, is to be humble and be a beginner. So if you're a new coach on this call, you can stay on and you can listen to how we're trying to help more seasoned coaches level up. But I want you to remember, if you're in phase 1, that's okay. Now, here's where there's going to be a couple unicorns. Maybe you're a new coach and you're going to be doing all these things, but maybe there is something in your life that really obviously could be your niche, right? Follow that. Start doing that. Honor that, right? Not everybody's going to be the same. But for a lot of women, moving on from phase 1 is intimidating. I don't have a thing. I don't have any interest. I don't have any hobbies. Like I don't have any value to add. And that's okay. Because if we look back, it took me 4.5 years to get there. If I look at Erin's journey, she's had to literally create her own, right? Like the journal that she wrote, and that's become her niche, but she had to literally create that. And she was nowhere in a position to write a freaking journal 5 years ago. She was embarrassed to start an Instagram page. So staying in your lane is really, really important. Remembering that phase 1 is where your business is built is so, so important. I'm seeing some coaches that are focusing so much on creating reels that they're forgetting to be a beginner. And it's really, really important that you're a beginner, because in phase one, the people that are joining your community, the clients you're enrolling to do the workouts with you, the women you're mentoring to habit overhaul, they're your friends. They're your aunts, they're your moms, they're your sisters, they're your friends. And if you don't have any friends, aunts, moms that you can get to do a workout program with you, you need to reevaluate if network marketing is your path. And maybe you're a hobby coach, and that's cool too, right? But you got to have a little bit of warm market in order to get going in phase one. It's important. Phase two, focus on finding new interests, hobbies, communities, and make a big claim. If you haven't done some sort of big claim and followed through on it yet, and I don't mean going all in on a program, I used to mean that, but I think that we're shifting away from that kind of verbiage. But it can be something like buy a fucking bike, you know, like whatever it is, like buy snowshoes, start a group, like, I don't know, you know, but do something different. Do something different than what you're doing now, because what you're doing in phase one, as you gather that warm market, isn't going to be enough to get you into phase two and to keep going. This is a business. If you're feeling stale, it's time to pivot. Phase three is niche down. Instead of helping everybody, determine the type of women that you want to work with. Guys, you are all wildly capable of working this business, but it's going to take some entrepreneurial spirit. Like, what was it that I read? This is so good. Am I going to find my place in this world, or am I going to make my place in this world? And finding my place in this business took me a really long time. Do you know that for over 3 years, I've been struggling in my client community because I'm not a natural encourager? And just finally now, I feel like I'm figuring out really how this could work for me, and focusing more on mentoring coaches, doing a blog group so that I can track the stats, like finding my way. So if you're struggling in this business, put your fucking big girl pants on and let's pivot and figure out how to make it work for you. Because it's a business and you can do this. For the women on here that feel their warm market has been sort of engaged, let's figure out what the next step is. And Erin's going to sort of guide us through some of that. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm excited for you and your big masterclass tomorrow. And that was really cool to see a bit of a glimpse of what you're going to be doing for it. So congrats to you. I think we will all eventually benefit from that experience as you share maybe later, like that process and what you've been doing for it. But anyways, okay, niching down. So we spoke that at leadership, we had some amazing public speakers who spoke about niching down and how niching down is the way forward, on social media, period, and in this business. And if you've been observant on social media and really been a researcher of what's happening on social media, this shouldn't be a surprise to you. Like, gone are the days where everybody's focusing on their own personal brand and people are sharing literally what they ate for breakfast all the way up until their, goodnight kiss to their husband. Like, everything is now a way more niche down, and people are sharing less personal stuff and more value added content that is binge worthy and that people want to watch, right? People are in it for themselves now, right? Typically people are following other creators on Instagram for the value of their content. Am I getting something from you? Am I learning something from you? Am I entertained by you? Is there value here? Or is this just you sharing your life and your kids' stuff on Instagram? And if I don't know you, I don't really care, right? Like, Instagram and social media has really evolved and changed over the years. So this shouldn't be a surprise to you. Now, I'm going to do this caveat one more time. If you are a newer coach and you feel like you're in that phase one, please feel free, or even if you're in phase two, please feel free to get off the call. And I mean that with all due respect, because I don't want you to get to the point where you're like, I don't know, I'm not there, I'm not doing it. Like that's not our intent. Okay. Phase one is sharing your journey, working in your warm market, helping people with their habit overhaul, leading your groups through people that you know, or through those 6 degrees of separation, right? But as you evolve in this business, and as you are ready to take your business to the next level, and you are ready to really step into that cold market of people watching you who do not know you, don't know your kids' names, don't care what your kids' names are, and are truly only in it for what you have to offer to them, it's time to niche down. It just is. You will not survive throwing the open casted net out to every single mom out there and saying that you are there to help them, because it's falling on deaf ears. They're going to seek out the people who they connect with most. And what I really liked, what these, what were they called? Court, from leadership, the category pirates, thank you. What I really liked about what they said, they really focused on categories, okay? And creating your own category and like paving the way on your own. It's not about being the best in a category that's already there. It's about developing your own freaking category in and of yourself. There's no competition when you pave the way. So what he was saying is that you want your business, your social media page, to be entirely 100% a no for somebody and 100% a yes for others. If you are, I kind of like her, she's all right, whatever, you're missing out. You're missing the mark. You want people who are like, oh my God, she speaks my language. I know exactly, she's like in my brain. She knows what I'm struggling with. She knows like what's going on in my life every single day. She knows how to help me. Or you want other people who are like there are times where Erica posts stuff about teachers and I'm like, I got no clue what she's talking about. And that is perfect. I said to Erica once, I was like, the more you are creating posts that I don't get, the better. Oh, Erica, the better, right? You want your page to be entirely so niched on people that they feel that you get them. And the value you're providing to them is personal to them, not to you as the person creating it, right? They feel it's personal to them because you understand them so much. So if you're like me or me 4 years ago, the idea of niching down seems really scary because I'll be super real. I'm like relatively boring. I don't have a big story. I don't have an exciting career to go based on. I don't have like any sort of like category that I could lean on. But the reality is that I can get really clear on who I want to help, who I love to talk to. And there are people who are, let's say, quote unquote, boring, living in the suburbs, just like me, right? So I want you to really start thinking about how you could niche down. And the category is, so I'm going to share that with you. They want, like, there's 3 questions to ask yourself, okay? The first one is, what do the people around you say makes you unique? And sometimes this is, if you're not that introspective on yourself, this can be really hard. So I really encourage you to ask your, the people closest to you in your life, your bestie, your sister, your husband, your university friends, whomever, the mom friends in your life, whomever is close to you, ask them, what do you think is, what do you like about me that's really different or that's unique? And the idea here is for it to be one thing. They said simplicity is velocity. The more specific you can get, the better. It speaks to the people who are in that same category as you, right? So what do people around you feel like makes you unique? The next question is, why do your clients love to work with you? What is it about you that they like? And don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to go to a client and be like, hey, I'm doing some market research here. Can you give me a really honest question, a really honest answer? Let me know why you decide to do this with me. What about me attracted you as a coach? And ask yourself, like, what is it? What kind of problems do you like to solve for your clients? What kind of conversations do you like to have with them? What do you like to help them with? The third question they said is, why are you uniquely passionate about helping people feel happy and healthy? And I feel this really aligns well with what Courtney's been talking about with Mel Mitro, is when she says, I think you spoke about it last call or the call before, where you said, what is your unique approach to Beachbody? For me, man, I've been doing these 5 years and it's almost never been about losing weight. Like never. For me, it's always been about prioritizing myself and taking time for myself. That's not for everybody. That's just my unique approach to Beachbody, has been about the time. Think about you and why these programs, these products, what your unique approach to them is. Why are you doing them? What problems do they solve for you? And that could help you kind of figure out who the kind of people you want to solve their problems for. So they said there's 7 ways to niche down. And I would say there's probably more, but these are the 7 ones that they gave. 1 is your origin story. And this would be kind of like why you started working out, why you started doing these programs, who you were before Beachbody, what your story was before Beachbody. For me, it was like I was an overworked, exhausted working mom. This was the only way I kind of found my light after motherhood. I was drowning in the mom life, right? So many of you guys have heard my story about the gloves from Christmas, right? Where I was like, my mom asked me what I want for Christmas. I couldn't even think of a single thing because I literally was just in the depths of mom life. And to me, that's been how I've helped a lot of women kind of get out of the depths of their mom life too. Another way to niche down. So first is your origin story. And I think at this point, you guys should all, if you are at phase 3 and you're thinking of niching down, you should know your origin story and whether that is something that you'd like to niche down about or not, right? The next is a personal life event. And this can be maybe that happened in your life, maybe that happened, like I can think of, some women who struggled with infertility or people who have gone through like traumatic experiences. That is a way for you to connect with other people, other humans going through similar traumatic life experiences, right? Oh, shoot, I cut out. Sorry. The number 2 is a personal life event. And I was just saying how I can think of, some women who've gone through infertility struggles or women who've had, like people who've had traumatic experiences and how they really connect with other humans who've gone through similar life events. Those are ways that you can connect with a specific group of humans. The next one is your personality. Your personality. If you are somebody who is really, I don't know, loud, outgoing, or you're really funny, you like to do funny reels, maybe that, like, think about your personality and maybe that's somehow like how you'd like to connect with other people and you like to connect with people like your personality. The next one is where you live. So we've got your origin story, a personal life event, your personality, where you live. And so many of us have been doing that and focusing truly on the location in which you're at. I know for me, I've definitely been focusing on women in the Ottawa area, right? Your community, the kind of community you have, maybe your religious beliefs, maybe your background, maybe this is like a Canadian culture thing, maybe this is your husband's job community. Like I can think of some like firefighters, or I know Chantal's husband is a police officer. Like that's a whole community in and of itself of wives of, or maybe it is your job right now. Like Erica, how she really niches down on teachers. Any kind of community that you're already a part of can be a way to niche down as well. And then the last one is personal interest. And this is something that I think is maybe scary for a lot of moms who don't necessarily have hobbies or interests, but it's also an opportunity for you to explore new interests, explore new hobbies, giving yourself an opportunity to truly try something new and be a beginner, like what Courtney was talking about. What I really liked about the category Pirates is that ultimately it comes down to your uniqueness and really trusting what they coined, like trusting your weird. He said, trust your uniqueness and trust your authenticity. And whomever that is for you, the only way you're going to be successful in this is by embracing it. Recently, Courtney gave me some very sisterly feedback in which she told me that on my social media, I'm doing it right now. She told me on my social media that I laugh and it comes across inauthentic, because she's like, I know you so well. You're not a funny person. You're laughing when you get nervous. And I literally just did it. I laugh when I get nervous and uncomfortable. And she's like, but you're trying to come off as like, I don't know, you're saying funny or whatever. And I'm not a funny person. But she said, the more like you're straight, like just own it. You're straight up. You're direct. Like own that, because you are going to come across more like appealing to the person on the other side when you're genuinely just who you are. If you love to be funny, you gotta embrace that. If you have a weird, quirky side to you, you have to embrace that. If you are direct and not funny at all, like me, you have to embrace that. The only way you're going to have success at this point in phase 3 by really niching down is by being really true to yourself. We were speaking with Koo today. Koo did a session with Melanie Mitro, the chic influencer as well. And she was saying she kind of had this diagram where it was like 3, you know, where you're like have 3 circles and in the middle is the connecting piece, right? And in it, the 3 circles were, in order to find your passion, the first one, your niche, the first one was, what are you passionate about? And at some point, like, if you feel like you don't have anything, you got to start observing yourself. You got to start observing your energy and watch when you get excited when you're talking about things. I went out for lunch 2 weeks ago with a bunch of like moms, women or whatever. And at one point I noticed myself, I was so passionately, excitedly talking to this one woman who worked for the government and was like going through the depths of the shit in the government. And it was so interesting to me because I was so excited to talk to her about the shit, about the French language training, about the acting, about all the stuff that and the other women there were like, I got no idea what you're talking about. And it really made me leave there being like, those are my people. Like I'm passionately engaged in that conversation. So you have your passion. The next circle is knowledge. What do you know about this? Are you kind of an expert in your experience in this? Are you an expert in this area? The next one is profitability. How likely are you going to have some sort of profit in this? Erin's passionate in the government. You know. If you know, you know. But within that passion, knowledge, and profitability, that's where you find your ideal niche. Okay? Watch yourself. Watch how you are engaging with other humans and who you are most excited to talk to. I think it was a few calls ago where I can't remember who it was saying. Maybe I think it was it you, Stacey? I can't remember. Who was talking about conversations. I think it was you. Conversations where you are excited to respond to, and other conversations where you literally are like, oh, I'll check it tomorrow. Right? Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Why are you not excited to help that human? Why are you not excited to respond? And on the contrary, why are you so excited to respond to one person and you skip down to their message and answer them? Watch your behavior. Who are you most excited to help? Who are you so excited when they're like, she joined me? Who is that? And why do you want to help her? What problems does she have? If you have an hour this week to think about your niche, I want you to spend 50 minutes thinking about her and the problems that she has. And then 10 minutes thinking about how you can help her. But you have to get in that depth of who this human is, what she struggles with, what keeps her up at night, what she wishes for, where she wishes she could go in her life, what she feels like she's missing out on. Like truly soak in who she is. Because then once you understand her, you can create content to reach her. You can have conversations where she feels like she's understood and seen. But you have to get to know her more. Courtney has a really great resource. I haven't been watching the chat. Court, maybe if you want it, can you share it here? Yeah. like
Courtney's a really
Tremexine
great
soda?
resource. No, like or is it a PDF? Yeah. Okay. Can we share the PDF, or where are we at with that?
Yeah.
Or is
can I
that not
drop
allowed?
PDF in here?
I don't know. If not, we'll share it in Coach Corner or in the coach group. But it's just some questions that really help to guide you on who your niche is and getting to know them better. If this intimidates you, I want to give you permission to spend the next like quarter, October, November, December, thinking about this. This isn't a overnight success. This isn't a, I got it tomorrow, I got a new niche, I'm switching over my social media. Like, this is something you think about and watch your behavior so you can kind of see where your energy takes you. And then once you have that kind of ideal niche, date the ideal niche for 30 days. See how it feels. See how she feels. Start posting and talking to her in your stories. Start directing your content to her and see how it goes. I think over the last few weeks, some of the diamond coaches on our team have been doing this. I know Sarah's really niching down to talk to Down syndrome moms. Erica's like becoming an expert in talking to teachers, and they've had massive success in just 1 week in terms of their engagement, their content being shared at, looked at, and engaged on. But it takes time. It's not like they're all of a sudden now recruiting more people. It takes time to reach those communities and really become the expert in that field, right? But give yourself time to start thinking about it. All right, who here is struggling with what their niche would be and is up for being put in the spotlight for us to help you? If nobody chooses, it's going to be like school where we're going to just choose somebody.
I'll go.
Okay. Where are you at? What are you thinking?
So I can very much connect to who she was or what she was feeling, but I don't know how to like clearly identify her. Like if I were to put like 3 words to say who she is, like it feels kind of long-winded, I would say. Like I can emotionally connect to, like when I think of my origin story, for example, I can emotionally connect to like that moment and how I felt and who I would want to help. But I guess it's been a struggle to articulate that clearly, like who is that person without saying like he has no self-confidence and feels like shit, and without like making it sound super negative. I've been trying to kind of spin the words around it a little bit.
So how old is she?
She would have been 26 at the time, but I'm 29 now.
Okay.
So almost 30.
Right. And she's married, no kids, single.
Would have been single at the time, not single now, but that's, I guess, the transformation that's happened in that time too. So yeah, single. I was very much like, I was avoiding a lot of like emotional stuff and like coping with food for sure, food, alcohol, not spending any time alone. Like I was very lonely at the time too, because I was grieving a loss.
What were you grieving?
My high school boyfriend and best friend died. And I also tore my Achilles. So I also had like no mobility. So I was injured too. So I was also just kind of in that like mental state too, of trying to recover from a really bad injury. But the grief of losing somebody really suddenly, like at a very young age, is really hard to kind of reconcile.
So do you feel pulled to help people with grief?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a really deep and unique spot for people to be. But what I feel more pulled to help is how it all kind of came to a head. Like when I was in that, when I think back to my origin story, we were bridesmaids dress shopping, and I was so anxious to go to that appointment. So I was like, I'm not going to fit into anything here compared to my friends, for example. And I was so anxious.
So for you,
So that's
so
the
for
first-
you, the programs was about what?
the programs it's really been a personal like self-worth and confidence journey for me. And that's really what it gave me, was that I deserve to feel good.
Do you feel
Nice,
like a
man.
lot of your friends in their 20s struggle with confidence, or did you feel alone?
I felt alone in it.
If
But
you
I'm
ta-
slowly, I've got a few clients who have kind of come to me in a similar spot, not many, but I felt alone compared to my friends.
How do you feel like you've transformed?
I think my personal transformation has really been confidence, self-worth, and belief that I am worthy of feeling my best and living a life that I am like proud of, and someone who is happy and who's just like, who's worth all of that.
I love the young woman thing because I
Mhm.
think that there's a really big gap in the market for it. And I think you're a good age to speak to those women, like almost approaching your 30s, you know?
Mhm.
Like if I told myself when I was 19, you know, the decade ahead kind of thing.
Mhm.
And if you really feel like it's confident to like lead the life, or like confidence to dream the life that you deserve, you know?
Mhm.
I think there's a lot there. Like
Yeah.
I help women in their 20s find the confidence to lead the life they deserve, or to dare to dream, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost
like
self acceptance, which is so hard as you like, geez, from like teenager, 20s, 30s, like
Yeah.
I feel like it's taken me till my 40s to truly accept who I am, right? So it's almost like helping people with self acceptance in their 20s. So it's like millennials too, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I help millennials.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. I like the word 20s though, because I think that that's really specific. And when she comes to your page, she sees that it automatically relates to her,
Yeah.
because the dumb ones might not know if they're a millennial or not.
No, I don't
Millennials
want those.
know
I
if
don't
they're a
want those
millennial.
ones. Yeah, we do, because we just get ripped on it at work all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's helpful. I'll noodle it over some more. Thank you.
Like, who are you excited to help though?
I mean, so I would say those people kind of show up differently. So you can get the people who are in that space, because I have a few of them who are not ready to do the work because they're still like too far in it and still super stuck. Those clients are really hard because they got a lot of their own crap to work through. On the other hand, the people that get really excited to help are very high energy. They're self-starters. They're like the version of me who shows up at the office and is like, give me every hard assignment, do like whatever. Like I'll figure everything out on my own. Like everything, like self-starter, I think is probably the best word. Like they're keen, they're eager. They're kind of low maintenance, but high energy.
But they're not prioritizing their own self-love, right? They're givers in terms of like showing up a high achiever at work, but not.
Yeah, like they're probably cheering on everybody else in the community, for example. Like they'll be the people who will show up for everybody else and show up at work, top performer, really strong doer. Because depending on where they are, like emotionally, they're usually still pretty keen in the group. Like they'll get going. Yeah.
So it's young professionals too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that women in their 20s that have no confidence might not even be there yet either. Like if I think about myself in my early 20s, like unless you've gone to school with a specific, career in mind, there's so many women in their 20s that are confused and don't know what the hell to do with themselves.
It is a turbulent time. Your 20s are so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to leave them behind.
Totally.
All right. I think that it's something to work with. You're not trying to solve world problems here, but just sort of show people how to start brainstorming it, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank
Sarah
you.
Patterson, why don't you lead someone through one? I feel like you're really good at this.
Oh God, the pressure. I was just about to message Stacy and say, I'm proud of you for stepping up. She talked on my team call last week and was like, I was so nervous to do that, but you have so much value to share. Oh man, do I have to call someone? You're welcome.
Anyone want to go?
Hold on, I can't see my gallery.
I can go as well. I'm happy to.
I was literally gonna call you out. You were at the center of my screen and I was like, I feel like you need a niche.
I'm working on it. I've been working on it for the last couple of weeks actually, but yes, I do.
Erin, what are those 3 bubbles again? I didn't take notes.
Passion,
knowledge,
profitability.
and profitability.
Okay.
Tell
Right
us
in
where
the
you're
middle.
at, Amanda, with what you got so far.
So what I've been focusing on and looking at in terms of what I think my niche would be, or where I would like to go. And Erin, you and I have talked about this before, but I think you and I relate a lot with where you were at. I'm a boring person. I do my daily things. I used to have passions, lost them along the way. And so if I look back at who I was at the time, I was writing notes down while we were chatting here of I'm a working mom, wanting more than to just be a mom. That's been a big one for me. I hated mat leave. I hated all those things and I just didn't thrive, and I need to be more than a mom. I had no interest, no passions at the time. I felt very alone. I need community. And I was also mid-pandemic too, so that really hit hard for me. When I started coaching, I should say, I didn't know who I was anymore. I literally didn't know. I remember not being able to answer a question of like, what brings you joy? I couldn't answer it. I had nothing. Literally, my naturopath told me like, okay, I'm giving you a goal, one goal, and that's to drink more water. And I'm still working on that goal, but I just couldn't do anything more because I was anxious, stressed. I was a workaholic, even after becoming a mom, because I think now I'm diving deep, is I think I would try to fill my time with things that I knew that I was good at, because I just focused a lot on my work, even though should be at home with my family and doing all of those things too. I always felt like I was a confident person, but now I'm feeling very different in who I am today. And not making changes. I was probably very stable in a lot of the things that I do in my life, but now I've changed a lot of that. I was definitely unhappy, even though I had kind of everything that I thought I would want. I was happily married with my kid, with a son. I was successful at work. Like I had all these things, but yet I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't give myself any time, gave everything to everybody else. And I think that I think covers me. So the other things that I've pulled out that I think are a little bit specifics to me, and it's really coming down to terms with this too. Like I'm a one and done mom, which is not everybody is that. That is me. I also I really think for me, just finding who I am as a person has led me to become a better person overall. And I've taken more chances and risks in the last year and a half since I've started coaching than I've ever done in my whole life, basically. So that confidence was changed. I built that confidence. I was willing to take risks. I was also willing to just be allow success to happen and to be proud of that. Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm like lost in the
Amanda, what were your passions before you lost them?
Fitness was one of them. I like to read, although now I'm reading personal development, but I actually probably need to get back into just reading about women in the war or those types of things that are really different types of reading. I used to dance. I'm a social person, so just hanging out with friends and all of that. I'm a very much an extrovert, so I get a lot of energy from that. Um, Other than that, I probably still have a lot of passions that I need to find and discover again. Those were kind of the main pieces. I work. I worked a lot.
Was it when you became a mom that you felt like you lost them?
Oh yes. I I I lost a lot. I lost me. I was not me anymore at all. I don't even know who I was, actually.
Yeah, your story does remind me so much of Erin's.
There's yeah.
Yeah, like I think my first thoughts for you are like helping women rediscover themselves after motherhood. But I remember in the presentation at leadership, they're like, okay, but then what? Like, what's the next question? How do you like peel back another layer to get a little bit more specific? I don't know, Cor, Erin, do you have anything?
Are you still stressed? Do you still suffer with anxiety?
Yeah, I guess I do. Like I actually would work, and I actually probably don't even talk about it, but how much I work on like I have chronic inflammation in my body because of how much I carry internally. Um,
Wouldn't know.
I don't know. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I'm ready to be called out. I always volunteer for these things because I know.
I think so the woman that is going to be doing the personal development content on the platform, Petra Culver or Gulver,
Mhm.
you need her book. I feel like The Perfection Detox, because you are like perfect. But it's like the first two questions, like, are you still struggling with anxiety? Yes, I have horrible inflammation. Okay, like Mel Mitro's entire profile now is about like inflammatory whatever. I don't know. Like I don't even like watch her content, but I know that that's, you know, like that's a huge thing. Like what are you doing every day to battle your inflammatory problem?
I take a lot of supplements that help with that. My personal development, my working on it is the stress levels, just trying not to overdo things, but I take on a lot, so I'm learning.
That doesn't I still don't
I don't know.
I don't know the answer to the question yet.
I don't think I know the answer to the question, and I think that's where I need to dig deep.
Okay, so you're going on like an inflammatory journey
Mhm.
and to reduce stress in your life.
Yeah, and
Yes.
identify like what are those specific stresses, right? Which can come back to maybe the whole perfection mindset.
Yeah, like I even feel like the perfection detox, you know, like helping working mom, I don't know, like, but there's a lot there. There's a lot there. I think that I've like always kind of poked you and told you that like I'm waiting for your like authentic version to come out, you know, and every time, like the one time I got to meet you in person, like it actually wasn't, you weren't who I expected. And I don't like that. I want to see you because you're your greatest asset. Stop, buddy. Okay, I'm almost done. Great, go eat it.
That's interesting.
I think that there's a lot there in terms of perfectionism, that like helping other perfectionists kind of peel back the layers there. Like, would that excite you? Would you be excited to help other women ditch the perfection?
Or Amanda, have you always been a perfectionist, or is this just something like in your adulthood or since having kids, you've kind of managed your stress by trying to have control of everything?
Oh, I would say it's probably deep down. I'm an only child as well, and that was I feel like it was always a thing where I needed to show my best self and always appease other people and make people happy. Like I was always trying to appease. What's the word I'm looking for? Just like just make people happy. You know, like that. I needed to always be the perfect person, I guess, a people pleaser. Thank you. My words aren't coming because I'm all discombobulated in my head. Yeah, totally. I am a people pleaser and I'm working on that.
That's going
Yeah.
to be really hard for you. And that's going to be your calling. That's going to be your transformation, and how you can evolve is to stop showing up so fucking perfect and to actually work on that stuff. Because if you're trying to be a coach, but you're suffering from inflammation and stress and anxiety, then it's not authentic, and people aren't going to be drawn to you. You need to heal your stress, your anxiety, your inflammation, and share that. Share what you're doing to do that. That's exciting.
And it's funny, and I'm just gonna say, like, I don't even realize that I'm coming out. Like, I know you've told me, Courtney, but like, of perfect. I feel like this is me, but I dig deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the more you kind of commit to your own healing and journey and like going through your anxiety and inflammation and all that, the more you're going to uncover, the more you're going to evolve, and then uncover the people that you want to help.
And like,
You
guys,
know?
this is everything. Like, Amanda, like, this is what you're going to bring to your community. You know, you're going to start to find other women that suffer from anxiety or inflammation, and you can host a little masterclass of your own, like the top 5 things I did to like reduce stress or to reduce inflammation, like whatever, you know, like as we start to transform and evolve, like you're in the early stages, you're still in the be a beginner stage, right? Because you're just discovering it. And this is where you're like learning and looking for like materials that can help you transform, that become your content, that create that make you into be the, what did I say to you, Sarah, today? Be the expert, or position yourself as the expert. That's the end goal, right? But you got to do the work first and share the transformation, because you can't show up as the expert today if you haven't shown them the transformation along the way.
Thank you.
So that's the call tonight, guys.
I'll really feel successful in life if you like come out of your shell. I'm watching you.
You know what, Amanda? I give you permission that you are who you are. And I think like sometimes I like, and I'm only saying it because we're similar. Like Courtney, it's easy for Courtney to be like, come out of your shell, because she is out. She's out. She's loud. She's out there. If you are, like, there are times where Courtney's like, I feel like you're not. I'm like, this is me. This is me. This is me. You know, you just have to be ruthlessly committed to yourself and what feels right for you, you know? And the more honest you can get with yourself, that's the ticket. That's the ticket, you know?
I think too, can I say, guys, like this, doing the masterclass this week, like I've worked harder this week than I have all year because I'm excited. And that's the goal here too, right? It's not like share more vulnerably. Like, no, it's like get in tune with ourselves, because when we're passionate about what we're doing and what we're creating, it's going to shine through, and we're going to want to invest more in it, and we're going to want to do the work, right? Like, I love the way that Beachbody is shifting, because it's giving us even more permission to really find our unique approach instead of like cookie cutter, this is the program coming out next, you know? So it's exciting. If anybody wants to brainstorm this, like you need to raise your hand. You need to ask your coach. And if you need more than that afterwards, ask your coach to ask someone. Like, you know, like you gotta really brainstorm with someone.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for a great call tonight.
I dropped those resources in Coach Corner. They're really, really good. Like, do them, like print them off. I just printed mine off. I'm going to redo them again. I'm not totally sure if I was allowed to share them, so don't post them anywhere, but they're really, really good. So check it out, guys. And drop your ideas. If you're like, if you find your, you know, your thing, then drop it in Coach Corner. Bye, guys.